Here are some of the weirdest and most dangerous military weapons ever built. Bat bombs. Bat bombs were an experimental weapon developed during World War II by U.S. Army researcher Lytle Adams. The idea was to place small timed fire charges on Mexican free-tailed bats inside a 5-foot canister. When dropped, the canister opened with a parachute, releasing the bats to hide in buildings and start fires. Flying laser cannon. The Boeing YL-1 airborne laser was a U.S. missile defense system built in the 2000s. Engineers mounted a massive chemical laser inside a modified Boeing 747 with the goal of shooting down enemy ballistic missiles shortly after launch. In tests, the laser actually managed to destroy missiles in flight, proving the concept worked. Pigeon-guided missile. In World War II, behaviorist B.F. Skinner developed Project Pigeon, training pigeons to guide a glide bomb by pecking at an image of the target on a screen that controlled its flight surfaces. The U.S. Army funded the idea, but military planners considered it slow compared to electronic guidance. The project was canceled. Electromagnetic railgun. The electromagnetic railgun was developed by the U.S. Navy as a weapon that uses electricity instead of gunpowder to launch metal projectiles. These projectiles can travel at speeds of about Mach 7, hitting targets with massive force. The weapon was designed to strike ships, aircraft, or missiles from distances of more than 100 nautical miles. Great Panjandrum. The Great Panjandrum was an experimental British rocket-propelled assault device created for World War II to breach Hitler's Atlantic Wall defenses. It consisted of a central explosive-filled drum between two oversized wheels driven by rockets. In tests, the rockets failed or detached, causing the apparatus to veer wildly and unpredictably, even threatening its own crews. Free electron laser. The U.S. Navy designed the free electron laser to generate an adjustable high-power laser beam capable of destroying missiles, drones, and small boats. Unlike chemical lasers, the FEL could theoretically produce extremely powerful beams and operate continuously as long as electrical power was available. The concept sounded revolutionary and terrifying for ship defense. Panzer tank. The Panzerkampfwagen Maus was Germany's biggest super-heavy tank, designed by Ferdinand Porsche during World War II. At 188 tons, it had extremely thick armor and a giant 128mm main gun intended to bulldoze through Allied defenses. Only 2 prototypes were completed, but the tank's sheer size and firepower made it terrifying on paper. Shield laser weapon. The Self-Protect High-Energy Laser Demonstrator was designed by the U.S. Air Force to mount a laser weapon in a pod on fighter jets like the F-15. The laser would shoot down incoming missiles before they hit the aircraft, essentially giving fighters a defensive energy shield. The prototypes were terrifying, but integrating them proved difficult. Goliath Tracked Mine. The Goliath Tracked Mine was a German World War II remote-controlled demolition vehicle built by Borgward and Zundap. About 1.5 meter long and carrying 6,100 kilos of explosives, it was driven by joystick via a long cable toward tanks, fortifications, or bridges and detonated on contact. Allies nicknamed it the Beetle Tank. Schwerer Gustav. The Schwerer Gustav was developed for the sole purpose of destroying the French Maginot Line fortifications. It weighed about 1,350 tons, with a 32.5-meter barrel, capable of firing shells up to 47 kilometers. The gun was deployed in World War II at Sevastopol, its surreal size and destructive potential horrifying both soldiers and civilians. S-Mine. The S-Mine, or the Bouncing Betty, was one of the most feared anti-personnel landmines of World War II. When triggered by pressure or a tripwire, the mine first launched itself about 1 meter into the air before exploding. The blast scattered steel fragments in all directions at waist height, harming soldiers in a wide radius. Rods from God. Kinetic bombardment, often nicknamed rods from God, is a theoretical weapon concept that involves dropping tungsten rods from satellites in orbit. Because of their immense speed when falling from space, the rods would strike targets with devastating kinetic energy. The weapon could potentially destroy hardened bunkers or underground facilities anywhere on Earth within minutes. Laser-induced plasma. The laser-induced plasma channel is an experimental directed energy technology researched by the U.S. military. Powerful lasers are used to ionize the air, creating a temporary channel of plasma that can guide electrical energy, similar to a controlled lightning bolt. In theory, the system could allow weapons to strike targets with bursts of electricity.